Hello everyone, welcome to Southern Wreaths. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made this really colorful Easter wreath. These are the supplies I'm going to use to make this wreath. I'm going to start by adding my pipe cleaners to my 14-inch wire frame. I would suggest using a different color than black. This is all I had, well, all I could find anyway. So I do it in a way where you can't see them, but if you used a more complementary color, it wouldn't, you could just show them. You wouldn't have to hide the pipe cleaners. So I start by adding a pipe cleaner to each crossbar on the center. So I end up with 6. And then on the outside, I just pick a random crossbar to start. I lay it along the frame. Where the pipe cleaners end, I add my next pipe cleaner. And I'll do this going all the way around. You should end up with 8 on the outside, so there's 14 ties total. Okay, so this is really old mesh. I bought it in a bulk Facebook Marketplace sale. You could pull it down and just trim away the bad part. It's just kind of sun exposed. I kind of liked the different tones of it, so I didn't worry with taking it away. Plus, it's going to have all kinds of stuff on top. But you can always trim that part off because it's not the same all the way through the mesh. So I'm just attaching it where the pipe cleaner meets the crossbar, and I'm using a zip tie. I do it here so when I end going around the outside, it makes a perfect circle. There's no gap. After I trim away the zip tie, I push the mesh to the back and then just trim away that excess mesh. I like to push it to the back so that it sticks out the back. Doesn't always, but for the most part I can tell it does. So I'm going to do 12-inch poofs, and I just like to use my board to help me measure. You don't have to. You can kind of, after doing it for a while, you can feel what's 12 inches. I'm only twisting once and then kind of a half twist. I do that so it doesn't come undone as I'm going along, because if you do the one twist every once in a while with you jerking it around and adding more mesh, it can come untied. And it pulls the pipe cleaner out of the way, so when you do the middle part, you don't accidentally grab an outside pipe cleaner. And I like to fluff mine as I go. And I'll go around the entire outside doing the exact same thing. The 12-inch poofs, add it to my pipe cleaner, twist 1.5 times, and then I'll fluff it. So for my last one, I haven't done anything with these pipe cleaners. I just have the mesh attached with the zip tie where the pipe cleaner is. So the last poof finishes where those pipe cleaners are. So that's what I mean by creating a perfect circle. Now I'll open the inside pipe cleaners. It just makes life easier. I'm going to pull the mesh into the closest pipe cleaner to where I'm at. And then I'm just twisting once. This is just so you don't have a diagonal poof. It just pulls everything to the center. And now I'll just continue making my 12-inch poofs on the inside. Again, twisting 1.5 times and fluffing as I go. And then once I get to the last one, I'm going to pull out my poof, and then I'm going to open the pipe cleaner that I started with, the one I pulled the mesh into when I moved into the center. I'm going to add this mesh into it and then twist it. So again, you get the perfect circle. Where you began is where you ended. I like doing it this way so there's no gaps or anything. You don't have to worry about hiding anything. I'll trim away enough to just push the mesh through to the back so I can attach it to the frame. And you can see I only used about half a roll. And I just pull it tight and then attach it. It's usually almost always attached to where the other zip tie was attached. If you were doing just the basic poof method for your base, this is where you would stop and just go ahead and add everything else. But I want to do the poof ruffle method. That is my favorite method. I think it looks the best, and it's also a lot of fun to do. I also like doing the curl method. It's so time consuming. So I have this really pretty blue mesh. I don't have enough to do every section, so I'll show you what I do with that. I am cutting these at 20 inches. And I just like to use my rotary cutter. This is an all mesh all mesh, all metallic mesh. Gosh, I knew I was gonna get it out there. This is just a regular, just with some metallic stripes mesh. I'm cutting this at 24 inches. My mat makes it so much easier, but I do push it to the center to cut because it's just easier to cut, and I don't end up with a whole bunch of lines on the left side. Alright, so I just like to put something heavy on the end of my ruffle. I tuck it under if it's mesh that frays. Not all mesh frays the same. And then I'm just like accordion folding it into my hand, and then I like to tuck in the last part. This time I decided to open my pipe cleaners when I was adding my mesh. You don't have to do that. I feel like if you open the pipe cleaner to add the mesh, it just kind of sinks into the wreath. If you put it on top, it just stands out slightly, but it's not enough, honestly, to make a difference. Sometimes I do things and don't know why. I tried to fold this mesh out to make it like fan out. It did not want to cooperate, or that particular one did not. But you'll kind of want to make a circle with it once you put it in there, kind of overlapping the ends, so it creates a nice pretty circular shape. Here I'm just showing you how I make the ruffle again. I tuck it under, crunch it up in my hands, tuck under the last part. And you don't have to add something heavy on it. It's just easier to make ruffles if you do. And I'm still only twisting once because I'm going to add more. And here you can see I take the edge and overlap it, and then I do the same with the outside, and then just kind of lay it flat. Okay, so I did all the inside. Now I'm going to do the outside. It's exactly the same way, except you just do it on the outside. Sometimes if your wreath wants to move when you're pressing the mesh in, you might have to hold it with your finger. But you fluff it the same and everything. It does the exact same thing as the inside. I did put purple mesh in each section, so there was 14 pieces at 24 inches. And these are my 20-inch pieces of the metallic blue mesh. Again, I'm opening the pipe cleaner and adding this in. And you do want to twist pretty tight. You don't want your mesh to move around. And that's the fun thing about this. You can add as much or as little as you want. Okay, you can see here I was one short for my mesh, but that's where I'm going to put my sign, so it really didn't make a difference. I really did need one right there where that empty spot was, but it all worked out because I put the sign there. So I like to use a 12-inch piece of cardboard to cut my ribbon. So I just start wrapping it around. I do it 7 times. Because I have 4 ribbons, I need 7 of each one because I do 2 in each section. And then I just slide my scissors in at the end and cut it away. So I end up with 7 perfect 12-inch pieces of ribbon. It makes life a lot easier than having to cut them individually. Okay, and then I like to dovetail them, and I'll just show you how I do that quickly. I fold it long ways and I cut from the wire to the crease at an angle. And I'll do this on either end. And I do this for all of the ribbon. I just like the way it looks. You could do an angle cut, or you could just leave it square if you like that look. So there's all my ribbons stacked together. And I decided to put the pink and purple together, and then the polka dots with the polka dot eggs. And I just like to go through and stack them quickly, so when I'm adding them to the wreath, I don't have to worry about doing that as I'm going. It's already done for me. I just grab and add it to the section. It doesn't take that much extra time. It just makes life a whole lot easier. Okay, so to add it, I am going to make sure they're lined up as even as possible. I fold it in half, crease it, and then I'll pinch where I made the crease. It usually ends up with like 3 little folds. Then I'm going to add that into my pipe cleaner. I'm not opening my pipe cleaner, but you could if you wanted to. I'm going to twist 3 times, and then I'm going to roll down the pipe cleaner, and then I'm going to tuck it around to the back just because it's black. And then when I fluff out my ribbon, you can't really see the pipe cleaner anymore. And I'm just doing the egg shape, so one color is this way, one color is that way, like diagonal. But you could do, you know, 2 in the middle, 2 on the outside. It's your wreath, do what you want. And you can add more ribbons. You don't have to just have 2 in each section. You can add more if you want to. And I like to alternate the colors. So first I did the polka dots. Now I'm going to do the pink and purple. And I'm doing the same thing as I did before. Folding in half, creasing. I pinch it together, put it into the pipe cleaner, twist it 3 times. That's to secure it. I don't know if I said that before. And then I roll down my pipe cleaners with the glue stick and kind of shove it to the back. And then I fluff. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you the outside. It's the same thing as the inside, except the way I fluff it. Instead of making an X, it usually looks more like a bow tie, where the top part goes kind of straight across and the 2 bottoms flare out. And this is so you don't overlap your ribbon too much. I don't like it when there's a lot of overlapping ribbon. I like it where the ribbon can shine. It covers the wreath well and you can see it. Everywhere you look at it, there's ribbon. Because when you overlap, you end up with wasted ribbon. So here you can see when I put the sign there, you can't see the missing mesh that goes there. So for my sign, I'm using E6000 and hot glue with some pipe cleaners. You do want this to dry completely, the hot glue, not the E6000. You want it to dry completely before you add it to your wreath because it will pop off. I just thought these colors were so perfect. They all just kind of meshed together. It's hard to see in the camera, but the Happy Easter is in a light blue color. So that's where the blue mesh comes in. And I just feed the pipe cleaners through to the back of the wreath and I'm going to attach it to the wire form. I think this particular wreath I'm going to hang on my own door. I like all the colors. But with the brown in this wreath, you could also do like a burlap wreath with just a bow. I just really wanted to bring out all the pretty colors in the sign. Plus it's fun sometimes to have lots of bright colors. You could also add tulips. Since there's tulips, there's also daisies. So you could do tulips and daisies throughout your wreath if you wanted to. This sign could go a lot of different ways. So here I'm showing you once I feed it to the back, I'm just going to twist it around the frame. You don't want to twist it too tight because you don't want to sink the sign into your wreath, but you don't want it to sag when you hang it up. And then I'm just going to go through and like fluff my ribbons and make sure they're not tucked in behind the sign too much. That's it. That's how I made my super bright Happy Easter wreath. If y'all have any questions, please be sure to leave them in the comments below, or you can email me at craftingwithlee@yahoo.com. Thanks so much for watching, and if y'all learned anything, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.